there is an accounting program in New York for promising students who want to get better at accounting. So Campus Reform's Ben Zeisloft, who also writes for the Daily Wire, just put this report out about the career opportunities in the accounting profession program. This is sponsored by the New York State Society of CPAs, Certified Public Accountants, and the Moynihan Scholarship Fund. And it is meant for 250 promising high school students. And if you want to apply to that, you can, so long as you're Black or Hispanic or Asian. I think Asians are allowed to apply. Not totally sure. The one thing I do know is if you're white, you're not allowed to apply. This is a program designed to give people a leg up in accounting, but white people are not permitted to apply because we have a system of legal racism in this country. Just like the left says, there is systemic racism, and that systemic racism, the only legal racism in this country, is against white people and to some degree Asian people. And it's most notable in affirmative action, but you see it in places like this as well. Now this is hosted by a bunch of very prominent institutes and colleges in New York. Ithaca College, Medgar Evers College, Rochester Institute of Technology, RIT, Siena College, St. John's University, SUNY New Paltz, SUNY Oswego. These are state universities too. The University of Buffalo and Westchester Community College, not too far from where I grew up. This is your taxpayer dollars going toward hosting an event that's being done in association with these other institutes that will not permit white people in. Well, why? Because we are now living in a regime that says it's bad to give the same opportunities to white people as there are to Black people and Hispanic people and Asian people. And they'll tell you this if you push them hard enough. They'll say, well, yeah, because Black people have been disadvantaged. Where it gets a little strange, however, is I do see the argument. You say, look, certain people came here on the Mayflower, certain people came here on slave ships. And we recognize that there is a sort of force to history, and because of that, we're trying to right historical wrongs. I'm not saying I agree with that argument, but I at least understand it. Black people do constitute, the Black descendants of slaves does constitute a sort of special case in the United States. But what about the immigrants? Why are we treating people who either came here voluntarily or are descended from people who came here voluntarily the same way that we're treating people who came here or whose ancestors came here on slave ships? Why are we pretending that immigrants are oppressed? Immigrants chose to come here, and they chose to come here largely to give their progeny a better life. Why are we pretending that they're oppressed? That's insane. If this is such an oppressive place, don't come here. If the immigrants thought this was a terribly oppressive place, they wouldn't have come here. But they did. So I could almost understand the argument if you said this is only for Black people. It's still, again, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying I understand it. But now we're saying, okay, and Hispanics too. Hispanics get a leg up and white people aren't allowed to apply. Why? They came here voluntarily. And their ancestors came here voluntarily. And thousands of them are coming here voluntarily every single day, pouring illegally across the border. Why are we pretending that America has been so unjust and bigoted toward these people, the people who are begging, pleading to come here and breaking our laws to do it very often? That is not particularly coherent unless you're living in a racist regime that says white people bad, other people good. White people bad, to a lesser degree Asian people bad, everyone else good. That is the racial regime that we're living under. And it's no surprise that people think that race relations are getting worse and worse. Oh, hey, you. Nice to see you. I wish I could see you more often. I wish I could see you more reliably. And the way that I can do that is if you ring that bell. Ring that bell, subscribe, like. That way you will be able to get the notifications. Head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, MySpace, Zanga, AOL Instant Messenger. Subscribe to the audio podcast, The Michael Knowles Show. Leave a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. I'll see you next time, and I'll miss you until then.